I'm Stephen Price. I am Finn's dad.
Hi, I'm Tamara Greer. I'm Finnean Price's mom, and he was diagnosed with congenital myotonic dystrophy. And after further testing, I have adult onset myotonic dystrophy, and our 11-year-old has childhood onset myotonic dystrophy. Myotonic dystrophy is a rare genetic condition. For congenital, it's 1 in 40,000. For adults, it's 1 in 2,100. It's actually the most common diagnosed adult muscular dystrophy, but still very rare. So it's a multi-system progressive neurologic disorder, and at this time there are no approved treatments or cures. So the process for congenital is kids eventually meet their milestones. They're behind, sometimes years, sometimes. So Finn is 4 now, and he's probably at a 2 to 3 age as far as developmental milestones. But some children never reach that spot. Around 11 or 12, most of the kids start declining fairly rapidly. They're wheelchair bound. There's a lot of breathing issues because the diaphragm, which is a muscle, gets weak. So there's a lot of cardiac issues and breathing problems. And at the time he was diagnosed, the average age, like the average lifespan, was 18 years. Finnean was delivered C-section, and he didn't cry. He had some trouble breathing, so the NICU team took him away, and he was a very floppy baby. They call it hypotonia. He had no movements really, and we did not hear him cry or make any noise for at least 2 days. He had no gag reflex, so he was unable to feed. They had done lots of scans, didn't really have a diagnosis for us. We just knew that something was wrong. So he was born at Truman, and they took us across the bridge to Children's Mercy.
He was there for about 6 weeks while they kept him, 24-hour a day supervision and nurses at his side all the time in the NICU, monitoring his oxygen levels. They kept trying to see if they could get a gag reflex to appear. And at times his O2 sats would drop like precipitously, and they'd have to come. And it was often just kind of repositioning him and stuff like that snapped him out of it.
The geneticist, the genetics team came every day, and they looked at different things, and then they interviewed me, and really at first they thought it was SMA, then Prader-Willi, which is pretty common for kids with congenital myotonic dystrophy because it mimics a lot of other things. And then really at 7 weeks, we got the call. It was actually very simple for us because he got diagnosed so early. A lot of children are not diagnosed for months and months. So we lucked out. An adult onset, they already had my blood work, so that was easy. People without a baby that's born with congenital, it often takes them over 10 years to get diagnosed, just because a lot of people don't know about it.
Reaching out and connecting with people in the region that have the disease was sort of the about a year mark type of thing that we did. Early on, it was more like, how do we connect with First Steps? How do we connect with Johnson County Board of Services? How do we start getting on the Medicaid wait list? How do we, what resources are here locally that just cover like his needs? And then it was, okay, let's learn more about the disease, and let's, figure out treatments and doctors and all of those things.
With the help of Johnson County Board of Services, we were able to apply for the Sarah Lopez waiver. And in that waiver, they don't take into account parents' income. So it's just Finn's income, which is zero. And it's mostly for complex medical children that will need services their whole life. And I think it took about 3 years, but we got onto it. We have a great organization. It's Myotonic Dystrophy Foundation. So we have the MDA, which is just Muscular Dystrophy Association, but we have our own Myotonic Dystrophy, and they do fundraising and support groups and just outreach, and they're really driving the research. And the research right now is super exciting. They actually just finished a stage 3 clinical trial, and within the next 1 to 2 years, Finn should be able to be on a treatment. And they said probably a decade or so, there's a real chance that there might be a cure.
We've had such good teams around him his entire life. I mean, he's 4 years old now. Missouri First Steps, Johnson County Board of Services, the Children's Mercy team. Now he has a neurology team at KU that he goes and sees all the time. And he's just had such good physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, through First Steps, that, you know, his whole life he's been around people that I really credit for making him as strong as he is today, because I don't think he would be doing nearly as well without all those people in his life.